Thank you all. We are going in a slightly different direction from our last one. So we like to, with our fellowships, offer not only a way of hitting on these big problems and big concepts, but also giving you some practical skills and tools that you can take back and start using right away in your research. And that is where our next speaker comes in. So Ching Choo is the Southeast Asia Teaching Fellow for Google News Initiative. She previously was a fact checker for AFP, focused specifically on misinformation in Malaysia and Singapore. So we will be getting into a number of these tools and how you all might use them in doing sort of investigative with watchdog work, and as well as just kind of making your lives easier and making research easier on you as journalists. She also was the Malaysian correspondent for UK Asia and has been a journalist for over a decade. So while she works for Google News Initiative now, her background is engagement like all of you. So please join me in welcoming to me.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and let me just share my screen for a bit. As mentioned earlier, pretty much we'll be looking at a couple of tools that I kind of tailored to make sure that it kind of fits into the fellowship for today. And basically, we're going to be looking at advanced search, then Pinpoint and Google Sheets as well. And I hope that you'll at least take away some of these tools and be able to use it almost immediately even. So welcome. My name's Ching. Thanks for the introduction. And the next hour will be on pretty much, let me get this moving. Is it gonna, okay. So basically what I do here with Google News Initiative is basically the first pillar there. There's 3 pillars. Basically, yeah, okay. Should work way better. Basically, what I do is pretty much to advance the practice of quality journalism. The idea is that I introduce the type of tools that will be useful for use in journalistic reporting. And then the next 2 pillars is up to all the other partner managers as well. And then the last one will be on any sort of events that we have or that we host or sponsor. So some of the tools that I mentioned today would not only be useful for, regardless of whatever beat you're reporting on, it'll be useful for even if you're just doing any sort of research, either in academia or outside of that as well. So let me just move into the agenda for today. As I mentioned just now, it will be advanced search and what's the difference between this and the usual search. And then moving on from there, we go on to Pinpoint, and after that, Sheets as well. So the first thing, advanced search. So the idea is that you get to refine your searches using search operators. And what are search operators? Basically, these are a select number of sort of like, how do I put this? It's like number of ways where you just type in to just filter your searches to be more precise or help you at least expand in new directions as well. So there are 2 areas if you don't want to memorize any of the things that I mentioned today. There's first, you can just go to this URL here, google.com advanced search, and then you'll be able to kind of go to the specific page, and then you can kind of key in your either your phrases or keywords and all that, and you can kind of go in and then search as per usual. And then for images and whatnot, you can go to advanced image search. So these are the 2 websites or pages that you can kind of go to perform that if you don't want to kind of memorize any of the search operators that I mentioned later. So the next bit, so key thing to remember is there shouldn't be any spaces between the search operator and colon. And then after that, you just kind of key in anything like that you like, any of your keywords or the website URL, that's so on and so forth. But and also another thing to remember is that the search operators are different from Boolean operators, but both can be used in the process of searching on either Google or any of the other search engines as well. I forgot to mention earlier. I mean, if anyone has any questions, feel free to stop me. Let me know if I'm going too fast or anything of that sort. Otherwise, yeah, I'm able to see the room. Just raise your hands up, and I'll just kind of either repeat or go through again, maybe with a different analogy or example if there's a need. So it's not only Google that uses search operators. The other search engines uses them as well, although theirs may differ slightly. So how I'll usually describe Google's search operators would be in this manner. Pretty much, if you look at this is the website, right? Pretty much how you would search a particular website web page would be to kind of first, if you want to search the entire website, you use the site search operator. Basically, you'll type in this before the address of a particular website. And then what you're essentially doing is just telling the search engine, in this case, Google, that I want to search this website, for example, Instagram.com, for this particular phrase, perhaps jihad or anything like that, or like carbon capture, space, anything of that sort. And then ideally, it should be returning you some results based on that. But the results should all just be on that particular website that you're looking for or looking at, which in this case would be just Instagram. So it will just be returning any of the posts that relates to the keywords that you're referring to. So that's for site. And then the next bit is if you're searching within the URL of a particular website. So basically, if you look at how a certain web page address is, you'll see that within the URL itself, within the address itself, there is a how do I put it? There is usually a sort of description of what that particular page is about. It could be like this is a file, this is files, this is vacancy, this is jobs, careers, or about me, that sort of thing. So knowing how the web addresses work, that's when you can key in the URL, perhaps vacancies, addresses, files, documents, that sort of thing. And then alongside that, put in the keywords that you're after as well, maybe carbon capture, trade, anything like emissions, so on and so forth. Same thing within title. The difference is that you're then querying the search engine to look into the title of a particular page itself. So what happens is that it'll just only look at this portion of the page, just the title portion. And then the same within text, except it's just looking at text or anything within. So pretty much therein lies the difference. You're directing which part of the page that you like to look into. And then the difference for this other two, file type and exact phrases, is that file type, you're asking for specific file types that are either hidden, or it could be not necessarily hidden, either within a particular website, but it's very sometimes with certain file types like PDFs, docs, Excel sheets. Those are pretty hard to find, or like it's not made easy to find. So by putting in file type like PDFs, you're unearthing just PDFs, and that forms part of the search results. So I'll show you what that means in a bit. And then exact phrases as well. If you're putting in exact phrases, this helps especially in the case of, say, like during fact checking as well, where when I'm looking at whether something has spread, usually how people do this is they copy and paste the same thing over and over. So you can tell, like, just by phrasing alone, it is actually referring to either the same content. So that's using exact phrasing, especially for like a country like Malaysia, where Malay is most popularly used, and then you can see that they phrase things in a certain way, and then that's also adds in a second advantage, where you can see that, oh, this is likely from Malaysia rather than from Indonesia, for example. So it's a turn of phrase and all that sort of thing. But for today's purposes, I just want to focus on just either on trade or either on climate and that sort of thing. So it kind of grounds it in, like, imagine if you're building a story, for example. Let's say we're looking at a story on methane, for example, and then you just want to have everything and anything to do with methane and the reduction of it. So then how you go about pretty much doing this is just making sure that you add a plus to it. Add it in front of the word that you want to include. That means, like, whenever anything is related to methane, you want to make sure that it's an article on reduction, or it could be a news piece, it could be from a website of that sort. So if we kind of look into it, how it kind of, so I've already loaded this ahead of time just in case this doesn't load. Anyway, this would be, yeah. So if you just add that in, let me just hide this for a bit. Add that in, you're just asking for anything that just adds this, like anything that mentions reduction. So you can see that it just goes on. How can we reduce? How reduction program? Anything to do mitigation. So even synonyms as well, as you can see. So that's one way to look at it. The next thing is related as well. So anything that is related to, say if you found a website that you're particularly interested in and you want anything that is similar to that. So globalmethane.org, because it was part of one of the others as well. So you can use related. Related will then lead you to anything like that is related to that particular website just now. So rather than search, I think I was putting this. So yeah, so it could be global methane initiative, it could be other sites, activities, so on. It's still the same thing, but there's something else like it, and then unearths other type of similar websites such as Pledge, anything like the Environmental Protection Agency, so on and so forth. And I guess if you want to also kind of make sure that it is in Asia, you can ground it to Asia as well. Here you can kind of make sure that either you put it in as a location basis, that's where you go back to settings and put advanced search that you just want to search in a certain location, or you can kind of put it here. Let's say like you just want to make sure that it's in Asia, then you just put it in Asia. This still remains the top results, but you can see after that, you can see there's other mentions of where there's any sort of other events and whatnot, and other sort of initiatives happening as well. So that's how you can kind of see if there's any difference if you kind of ground it to other type of keywords, for example. So it's a lot of experimenting to make sure that it fits into the sort of thing that you're researching into. And then the next bit is the exact opposite as well. What if there's something then that you particularly don't want to include or don't want to it to be associated with, or maybe that could be something that you're already familiar with. What else that you're not seeing? If only that particular word is omitted, for example, take out cattle, take out cow, for example. This is an example. So maybe you could think of better words, then take that out and see if that makes a difference to the search results as well. So it's this sort of thing as well. So the usual example I used to do with this is actually car manufacturers. So usually Tesla, if you kind of search Tesla nowadays, you'll always find Tesla as in the company created by Elon Musk. But what if you want to be doing a report that's about the inventor instead? So take out Tesla as car, take out Tesla as the automotive manufacturer, so on and so forth, and then it should then lead you to the other result that is hidden because Tesla is doing so well SEO wise as a company. So the next bit is carbon capture. For example, this one is self-explanatory. Anything that is that you want to make sure is something that comes up in your result, that's in a phrase in any specific in this specific order, put it in a quotation mark, and then the results should return you that specific in the phrasing in that specific order. So this is the case for something like this, it will definitely return to you like in that specific order. So that's fine. If it's any longer and then you want to make sure that it's grounded and it's in that sort of particular order, carbon capture, etc., and emissions, so on and so forth, in that particular order, and all of the articles or all of the websites should ideally be returning that sort of a result, then yes, ground it in, put it in the quotation mark, and that should ideally give you back that particular result. So this is something different. This is what if you just want to be surprised as well? You just want to be searching on carbon capture. This is now your research for a bit, and then you want to look at it, what's been written about and what's going on in Asia. Why we put this particular proximity search operator is just that maybe you just want to be exploring what's actually out there at this point in time. So I put around 5 because it's just a guesstimate. So what it is that this is your keyword, this is your other keyword, and within these two keywords, they must appear within 5 words or 3, if I put this as 3, must appear within 5 words from each other. So how I can explain this is better shown here actually. It's coming up anyway. So if you can see here, I'm asking, I also put past year as well because I wanted the latest result. So if I put any time, this could be a bit more dated. So carbon capture, that particular turn of phrase, that particular phrasing must appear around 5 words from Asia. Could be the front, could be the back, it doesn't matter. So you can see here, there's carbon capture. It is at least 2 words away. It is at least carbon capture. It is at least 1, 2, 3, 4 words away. So this is exactly what it means. It's just making sure that it's tethered around a few words of whatever it is the next word is. So the use case for this is if you are looking for something that is different or a bit of an outlier, but it has to be linked to the topic that you're looking at as well, so it doesn't stray that far away. You can make it titled as well. Maybe it could be some sort of news article, could be something that is a bit more tight, right? Especially, so you put it like 3 words. It shouldn't be far away. It has to be something that is related. So it's still the same article. Then it goes on. Then it now is referencing other events, but carbon capture, Asia, APAC instead. So it's actually now referring to anything that is much, much closer, 3 words away. So that is the use of proximity search operator. And of course, this is not actually showing you like the last year. If you kind of want to make sure that it's the latest sort of news as well, you go to tools and you go to filter it down to past year and see if there's anything that's suitable for you, for example. And then you can see the dates are popping up as well. So you can also kind of tell when these are published. So the next bit, the site operator. So for this one, I use this the most as a fact checker. And then beyond that, I think specifically, I think for you guys, if you're looking at any sort of authoritative websites for any sort of data, these are the ones where it comes in handy, because sometimes they have pages upon pages is actually just within that particular domain you wouldn't know. Sometimes you just kind of want to tell, maybe just use this as a main one first and see how many other type of pages are also within that particular website. You can kind of do this. So this is just, in general, this is just telling the search engine to look for any sort of government domain in Philippines. So that's our PH. If I want to look in Singapore, it's .sg. So if in Malaysia, it's .my. It's the same sort of thing. So I think US is just .gov actually. But yeah, so you see therein lies the difference. If you kind of know that you're looking at usually like finance is MOF usually, I think. Yeah, so it's not, maybe it's phrased differently in Philippines, but that's the gist of it. But if we look at just Civil Aviation Authority and so on and so forth, it really depends on how they put it. So that's how you can search within the site itself. So, and then of course, to be if there's anything specific you're looking for, maybe budget of some sort, then put it budget. It could be 2022, that sort of thing. Hopefully something should come up. And you want to be more specific later on, I'll be showing the PDF portion of it. But you can see here, the first result itself, you can see that this is indicating that this is a PDF in itself. So then you can tell that, these are likely very relevant to you. There's something there. It's already inside a proper document as well. So you can combine as many search operators as you like, but definitely it makes the search a bit more. Sometimes it comes back with pretty okay results. Sometimes it makes it so that it may just say that there's no result, and then it gives you another result instead. So that's something you have to be aware of as well. So this is the case for, say, if you're looking into any social media websites, like for example Instagram, and you just want to look at any sort of keyword. You're able to just do it this way. For Facebook, if you want to look into certain groups, you're also able to do that, because Facebook, the way they've kind of made their at least the way they've done it is slightly different from Instagram. It's a bit easier to a certain degree. Say I changed this from Instagram to Facebook, for example, or even TikTok. TikTok at least has a functionality. At least you can search into tags for a bit. But Facebook is, say, if you're looking for groups, that's also possible. So that is how the address itself to just look into groups, just facebook.com / groups. And then let's just say you want to groups on methane, anything that talks about methane. This is, of course, it's just a keyword. It doesn't denote whether it's appearing on just the title or just the text or just anywhere else. So at least this is still a bit more free form. If you want to make it a bit more specific, you can put in like in text or in the URL itself, and then it'll give you a slightly different result. And of course, this is not in any particular order. Then you may want to also make sure that you filter it to the time as well. So that therein lies the few different filters that you can also use as well. And file type. So file type, this is also hypothetically, let's just say, let's look at whether there's any budget to deal with any sort of pollution rising from methane, and you want it in a format, because usually a lot of government agencies now, they kind of either publish something in this PDF format, which once you have it, you can't really change it, right? It's just quite set in PDF format. But you can definitely try it out in other sort of very popular formats like Word documents, Excel sheet, even PowerPoint, for example. It's actually possible to find some PowerPoints that for some reason or the other, they are published online as well. But say if we just use, let's just say, file type PDF, can see here just by emphasizing that you want it to be just PDF files. Every single result after this will just be PDFs. So these are then the type of documents that you can then click on, and then you can also download for yourself as well if you like. And if the rest of you, any of you plan to or really like the results a lot, and you want to kind of one shot kind of download it, there are extensions out there for you to also kind of scrape it and have all the PDFs downloaded in one shot as well. That's not a part of today's session, but I mean, it's just saying that that's a possibility as well. So yeah, so this is the use of the search operator for file type. And let's just say, let's go to the other search operators. So in this case, looking at what if you're looking at statistics specifically on methane? Does this come up with anything if you kind of search it this way? It does. So it's in something like a couple of these different websites here. It's Statista, so that's not really quite a shocker. They do a lot of this sort of on their website, and then any of the other researchers as well. So you're able to then unearth it that way, because that's part of their URL as well. So that's how we can do it. So it really depends on what your keywords are. You can make it as long as you want, or you can pair it, like you put another N. Maybe you just have pollution tracker, so on and so forth. It really depends on what you want to put in. So should I put in tracker? Yeah, that sort of thing. See what comes up. So it's about the same thing. If you think of a different word, it might be different. So it really depends on the keywords as well. So definitely try this with as many keywords, depending on what you're searching for, as you wish, and you'll see that there are differences as well. In title. So this one, I'll spend a bit of time on it. So in title, when you're saying like maybe this is a very specific one. So if you're saying you're asking search engine, you want articles, websites, web pages to show you any of them that says how to within the title itself, but you don't really. You're still trying to figure out the article you're writing, but you know that it has to be on the topic of methane, and maybe you want to see what's already out there. So this star here is just to say that you're not putting anything into the search engine. You're just saying that it could be anything. It could be how to of anything, but the keyword has to be methane. Of course, this could be any other keyword as well. So the sort of results that spits out is quite a variety. So what would be the type? So it could be how to make methane gas. It could be how to maybe drive down emission. The sentence is cut here. How to be smarter. So it's the star there really is just like a template, like a placeholder. It could be anything. So it's not telling the search engine that it has to be something. It could be anything. So conversely, if this is like I'm searching for any sort of social media user, I'm saying that I'm not already targeting someone. I'm already looking at any particular, it could be any particular person, but it has to be on the topic of X, for example. So yeah, how to make a biodigester, methane biodigester, so on and so forth. So that is not tying it to any specific how-to sort of videos or how-to sort of article. Same thing. How to maybe could be how to escape heat wave, how to navigate the heat wave, how to. So you don't want to put any sort of descriptive words there. So it could be anything heat wave and methane as well. So this then allows the search engine to show you a couple of different things, and it's whether you want to look into them as well. So how to avoid climate disaster, how do you so on and so forth. But methane is somewhere, heat wave and methane is somewhere within the either in the title, in the URL, in the text. It doesn't matter because this one wasn't really mentioned. It's not mentioned there. So here's a so that is how to use star, that particular. So in text, same deal within title, except you're just looking into the text, and then this is the usual example because a lot of people like to copy and paste on social media that, you have to share this before this gets deleted, share this before this gets before this is deleted. So there's a few other words as well, like this is deleted. Yep. Okay. Okay. I'll just. So as a case study, if you're looking for any sort of expert on LinkedIn, this is sort of an example on how you can search on it. Pretty much looking into, for example, this is just telling the search engine that to look into LinkedIn, for example, for an individual based in Singapore, and the person has studied or looked into or is working on methane. So in the text, as long as it has anything to do with methane. So this is an example, and why we're eliminating a couple of this is because it's just saying that you're not looking for a job, so you don't have to look into directories or anything that's related to jobs. So that's an example. So in the interest of time, I'm just gonna power through. I was gonna add this as a question of a sort, but if you like to take a picture of this and just kind of like maybe there's something that you could do in a bit for when there's a break or something like that, that'd be great. So it's just to find an expert who's a teaching fellow and who's working on a topic of femicide in the United Kingdom. And yeah, just give me a name of this particular expert and where she located in the UK and how did you search this. So yeah, this is a quick activity, but I think in the interest of time, I'll just move on to the next bit. So we'll move on to Pinpoint. So pretty much Pinpoint also takes time a little bit. So pretty much what Pinpoint is a research tool, and it helps you to analyze large collections of documents. And the idea with Pinpoint is it helps with especially the data team, and but it's also usable in other areas as well. If you want to do any sort of analysis on breaking news as well, that's also possible. It also helps with audio and video transcriptions. And fact checking is really the functionality where you can just look back at the source material itself and see which point in the source is it mentioned, any of the keywords and so on and so forth. And of course, it helps you collect notes and searching your own archive. So the feature here is pretty much so the idea is that you have your own collection of documents. Say you're doing any sort of investigation and you have your own collection of documents, say on, let's go back to the topic of methane, and you have various documents from different departments. It could be from Department of Statistics on, how much has been emitted. It could be the Department of Environment, so on and so forth. And basically you just have a whole bunch of them. And if you have them in your computer or Google Drive, that's great. You can actually just upload it directly. And the idea is that it doesn't matter what type of document it is, as long as it's some sort of supported format, you can actually upload them in a whole collection. And within that collection, you can actually use the technique I mentioned earlier, which is advanced search, for you to kind of go through and search your own document and kind of ask your own collection of document. Look, is this person mentioned? Is this what's the mission for this particular year, so on and so forth. So basically the idea is that you can use a couple of functions that's already available in search to kind of ask your own document, rather than, like how PDFs now, you have to open the documents one by one to kind of go through and see, oh, are there similarities? Is this person mentioned in this particular portion of the document, or should I have to go and figure out, and then you have to annotate, so on and so forth. So the idea of Pinpoint is to just go beyond all this, and then you're able to query it like you're using a search engine as well. So the first part with Pinpoint is, as soon as you upload any collection, it will already be filtered by dates, the key people, organizations, and location. So that's already a default sort of thing with the usual Pinpoint account. I hope you have you have had a chance to look into the website. So basically, it's g.co/pinpoint. You can kind of sign up for it. It's free for journalists and academics as well. And these are the type of file types that's currently supported. So that's a wide variety there. So it's both images and audio, and the other type of text-based documents as well, and video as well. So pretty much the thing for Asia specifically, if you're working with anything that is specifically in English, like pretty good English, and the audio is of pretty good quality, you can actually put it into as a collection, and then it will come up. And then it will come out as a transcription already. So it can be any, and then it will allow you to search the transcription itself, and then help you out in that sense. So basically, that's the portion on the usual functionality. So after that, they've also added other sort of functionalities to Pinpoint as well, where you can also take out any sort of data from structured tables. So basically, this is the structured data, extract structured data portion of Pinpoint, where you are able to annotate and just take out the type of data that you want, not just what's in the document, but specifically only the things that you are after. So how it works is that you can actually annotate only data that you like. For example, in the report, of course, you want the title. You just highlight that, or you just want United States. This is a report, and then you just want like maybe this particular portion of the table, just the total square foot kilometer of the place, and then that's it. You can actually just extract just that if that's the end of the research that you're doing. So then we move on to table. Pretty much table is the same thing that you've seen before that. You kind of stretch it over, and this extracts only the data that you want. So I mean, a report could span 100 different pages, but the idea is you're only taking the sort of data that you want and are working with. And with this particular extract structured data portion, the key thing to remember is that it is only if the reports are in a similar format, then that will help you out. But this is once you're satisfied, you can actually then preview it at the bottom or to the side, and then once that's done, you can then extract it. It's already Pinpoint is already in use with in a couple of newsrooms, especially Associated Press, Reuters, and so on and so forth. Basically, they use it as part of a team, but definitely each individual can just sign up for an account. Then it means you just have a larger allocation as a team. So you can also stay organized. You can share amongst each other, work as a group. It's also private by default. That's the design of it, is as private as your Gmail. And then the next bit is something that's coming soon, but I believe some of you guys are also based in a few different countries, or at least also kind of change from different countries or something like that. So good news is that the Gen AI capability has just been added this year, and the limitation is that it's available not throughout APAC. That's the thing. It's available in at least India, Indonesia. That's it. Australia. we are still waiting for, say, like Malaysia and Singapore and so on and so forth. But at least if you do want early access, do go for this particular link, and then you can actually opt in and say that you want to try it out. So the idea is that with the Gen AI capabilities, you can even look into like just your whole collection document and just straight and like how you use it instead of Gen AI website. So just query your own documents. So ask questions to understand documents. So, but in general, once you have it uploaded and go on to the site, you'll see that there is this particular icon here. That means that it has the Gen AI functionality there, and immediately there'll be an overview already. And this is a bit old now. There's an extra functionality where actually already once you click on it, it already tells you where in the document is this cited from. The overview itself should show you where in the document that particular portion is cited from. So yeah, so hopefully it will come to Asia soon. But those who are in India, Australia, and I believe was it just now like Indonesia, you guys can just have a go already. So that's pretty that's pretty useful. Or if you have a Gmail account of some sort that's already based in those countries, you can kind of use those accounts and sign up for it. So this is the all the links that you'll need. Sign up at this particular link, and then for any sort of support, you can actually reach out to me or the support team itself. If you either if you want to reach them directly, this is the particular email for it. So the idea is that this is your own personal account, but let me also go straight to the portion where I'll be showing. Yep. I want to see if you can see how to share a tab for this. So yeah.
I think we might have some questions here. Could we go to questions real quick?
Definitely, yeah. I know I've been going through. It's just to keep to the time. So
yeah,
go ahead. Yeah.
No, I know you're trying to pack a lot in, which is fantastic. Pinpoint, for those of you who have not used it yet, is a tool that a lot of my colleagues who are still in newsrooms use. It really helps in terms of efficiency. But please ask questions about this, search, or any other. Hi, thank you so much for your talk. I'm Pallavi, I'm from India. And I want to ask about the language capabilities, especially while using TrainFlight. Is it able to analyze documents that are not in English as well? And another question I had was about advanced search. Is it possible for us to do the file type search while searching in a particular site? Can you use two of these options together?
Yes. So I'll answer your second question first. Thanks for the questions. So basically, you can combine as many search operators as you like, but there might be to a certain point might be a bit too much where it may leave you with very narrow results, or very almost to the point where they may not be enough as well. But definitely, if you're just combining two, say just site, search operator, and also I believe file type, you'll be able to find something, hopefully. Yeah. And the bit on pinpoint and language support. So I believe because of the sheer size of the market that is India, I think they support Hindi as well. But I'll get back to you if you'd like to leave your email with or the team there. And I believe Hindi is supported. Yeah. Okay, let's go on. So basically, I like to show a couple of things. The first part being the transcription portion of it. Say if you're doing any sort of interview and then you like to just get a transcription without going to any of the other tools, you can actually use Pinpoint. It's one of the capabilities that they've baked into the tool itself. This is a podcast that I've taken from a Singaporean outlet. It's called CNA, and it's one of their podcasts from earlier this year. So as you can see here, I've uploaded it, and the first thing that pops up, I did this ahead of time because I don't know. It really depends on the time. It may take a bit of time to render. That really depends on the internet connection. So once that's uploaded, though, you can see that there is a filter to the right hand side, and you can see here that the label bit is something that I've added. That is up to you. Label is just to keep things in an order that you prefer. Maybe it's because of however you're doing your research, then you like to label it in a way that you like. But it's also able to kind of come up with all the other filters where people's names are already detected and mentioned, and you can actually go into the podcast that already mentioned. In this case, these are all podcasts that already mentioned these people's names. So where was Bill Clinton mentioned in any of these podcasts? So he was actually mentioned in the Geeks podcast. So great, then you can actually go into the podcast itself and see whether his name was actually really spoken in that particular podcast. But before that, let me go through the next few filters as well. So beyond that, it's not just names of people; it's also names of organizations that's been detected as well. So YouTube was mentioned somewhere. So it's mentioned in the CNA podcast and also the Geeks podcast. So that's one, and then other locations as well, so on and so forth. And you can also combine these filters as well. If say like you're looking at where was YouTube mentioned and which location was it mentioned, you can combine both. So that's fine as well. You can just try that out. So now to go into the content itself. Say the podcast is in an MP4, but immediately once you upload, you'll see that it's already turned into a PDF because it says it's a PDF. But no worries, the MP4 is actually not lost, it's actually there. It's just that now, once you click into it, it's actually a transcription itself, and it's all done out for you. But there, you just have to go through and see. Sometimes there's a bit of a hit and miss, there may be bits and pieces, but you know that it's a successful one when you can see that there are actual legitimate paragraphs here. So that's how it can tell that, oh, it's worked. There are cases where I try to turn, for example, a Malay podcast, but there's no support for Malay. So I use the nearest language, which is Indonesian. And then it comes up a bit of a hit and miss. But I like to show you this, which usually for English,
You're listening to a CNA
it
podcast.
can kind of fall.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Andrea Heng. Now, before we start, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you.
So if there's anything though that you figure out that there's an issue that it didn't transcribe correctly, you can actually edit. You can actually, of course, add in whatever it is that you think is correct. Then you just add that there. Once you're happy with that, you can, it's already saved anyway. Then consider it done. And if you think there's anything important, you can also highlight it. So that's a couple of the capabilities that I'd like to mention. So that's one. So it's definitely still here. As you can see, you can just play it as per normal. So that is for audio. It is actually a video podcast on YouTube, but I downloaded it, and then when it's uploaded, it comes this audio. So say if it's a mix of documents, say if it's of other languages or anything like that, you can also kind of search as you would any like depending on what the language is. In this case, this is Malay. There's definitely some words where it's in Malay. It would, I think it wasn't. Yeah, so there are words there that it's in some of the documents. So you're able to then also just search as per usual. But say like if it's something that you could think of the word, but you couldn't think of the synonym. If it's in English, likely it works quite well. Say like moon, another word for moon is Luna as well. So that's also something that it will surface to you if it finds that there are similarities or synonyms of that sort. Let me go to one where. So let's go to the bit where it's the extract structured data portion of it, and this is this portion of it. So needs to load for a bit. So done this. Let me clear for a bit and redo it. So this is a selection of documents, 10 different files, but they all have a similar structure. They all have this sort of structure. And how you go about with this particular portion functionality is that all of the because all the documents are of similar structure, you can actually annotate them and make sure that only those particular data that you want is extracted out. So that's the portion there. So I think as per that particular GIF mentioned just now, you can actually just annotate this, make sure the box is big enough, and then you can see at the bottom here that all the other countries are also covered. So Afghanistan is a longer word. So you can see here Egypt is such a short word, but it's the rest of that as well. So on and so forth. Basically, you can see, if there's any mistake, you can actually check it out through this portion of preview here, or you can also see it through the fields here as well. And then for anything else, like you can use all the other functionalities to kind of extract it as well. And then once you're happy, give it a name. Give it a name, and you can see it in real time as well, that these are the sort of things that are being extracted, the data that's being extracted. You can also check through the different documents and click on them and see if in the other documents that they are being extracted properly, and then adjust accordingly if they are not. And then once you're happy with that, you can actually go and extract as shown in the earlier GIF. So the other bit that I like to kind of show is actually the newer portion that is now. This is the one with this is a different account because yeah, to deal with the fact that we're not in USA and whatnot. So these are this is when you see this particular portion here, this is when you know that you have the Gen AI function now. So if you go, for example, into, I don't have any really long 100 pages sort of PDF at this point, but let's just say I've taken liberty to kind of download this particular infographic, and it actually, in the overview for that Gen AI has for this particular infographic, it's also summarizing a couple of things as well. So you can actually see which portion of this infographic that it got this particular information from as well. Although actually you can read it as well, but say if you want it in a text format, you can actually see it. And it's actually going to tell you that it's actually from this portion of the infographic. And of course, there are suggested questions as well. You could try these, or you can ask questions that you like as well. So that's how the Gen AI functionality works. You can actually now query your own document. And if I want, like, say, sort of longer document, let's go into some of the public documents. Let's say it's actually this research, this particular set of collection from AP, and they are working on the Attorney General's investigation into the Maui wildfires. Basically, this is their collection. They've agreed to make sure that it's open to the public. And basically, there are news releases here and a couple of different things. Let's just go with the first thing. And you can see that when the Gen AI functionality is enabled, there's already this particular summary there. And where are they getting this particular information from? You can actually click on that portion and tell you it's actually from this portion of the press release. So I think that's pretty much it. I'll just go back to but anyone who has any questions, feel free to ask. I'm just going through with the time that we're given, so hopefully just going through that spin point. And then the next bit, say like if you have anything that is already online and then you just kind of want to extract data, that's the next portion that I'm going to be going through, and that would be on Google Sheets and the import functions. So basically, it's one of the functionality that Sheets could actually
Hey,
do.
we're gonna just like jump in. We have a question real quick.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. My name is Uzmi. I'm from India. So about the transcription app. So one of the biggest difficulty which we face with other transcription apps is that they don't catch accents, especially related to different regions of India. So has Pinpoint worked on that, or is there any solution to it? Thank you.
Thank you. So I am not, I will find out for you, but basically my understanding is that they do have coverage for, they do support Hindi. In terms of the other accents and dialects and also different languages as well, I think they're slowly getting there. It's the same with Southeast Asia as well. We are still waiting for like Chinese, especially the different nuances as well, and the accents and so on and so forth. But basically, there are certain portions where they could the used to be machine learning tool, now it's also Gen AI powered. It's able to learn as it's able to learn as if there's more people using it. So the trouble with some of the Asian languages is that they're very there's quite a lot of them, and also so I'll try to get back to you on that if you could leave your name as well.
Actually, I didn't mean language per se. I mean different accents of speaking in English itself. Like my accent must be different from a person who speaks English in America. So that is a very big difficulty when we use the other transcription apps like Otter. So that's what I meant. That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, okay. With English, it is covered in quite a few, although not. It doesn't have a specific one for India. It does cover US, UK, and Australia. So I guess my quick quick advice on that will be just to try out the three different ones and see if any one of them manages to kind of transcribe better for your particular dialect, accent, that sort of thing, and if that works. Beyond that, we just have to wait for the update from the engineers themselves. So they are constantly working on it. So that's the reason why the Gen AI portion is now added to this tool. So we're definitely still working on the tool. But thanks for your question. I'll try to see if they have any update on that as well. But yeah. So going back to this, how to import web contents with Sheets as well. So it's one of the capabilities with Sheets that's not really mentioned as much. Basically, say if it's any sort of HTML, any sort of website, in this case, Wikipedia, and this is the title topic: local governments in the United States. It could be local governments in Singapore, local governments in Cambodia, for example. And then they have something like tables like this. So this is where you can actually kind of import these wholesale from just the web page itself. Basically, the thing that you can do is pretty much open up any sort of sheet document. It doesn't matter. So you can actually do this by inputting into the browser address itself, the search bar itself. Sheets.new. So basically, then you open up a new sheet for you, and basically this is the formula for it to import from the HTML itself, and specifically in that particular instance, it's a table. It could be a list as well. It really depends on which one you're looking for, but it's just one of the capabilities, and this is the particular formula for it. And basically, shortcut for this for the index portion of it is just play around with the numbers. Change if one doesn't come up with the table that you want, you just change 1 to 2 to 3. Otherwise, there is an actual formula that you kind of have to just copy and paste, and it will then show you which portion of the table it is. Then that will show up. But how this works in real life is something like this. Say if take any of the cells itself, you can actually put in the formula, and when the text turns green, or sometimes even if it's a different color, it works as well. But really, the formula there, it will tell you whenever it's inputted incorrectly. But usually when it's like green, sometimes when it's blue as well, it works. But definitely if it's anything longer than just like a digit or an alphabet, it has to turn green. So you have to follow the formula as per stated. Pretty much, don't forget your quotations and commas and parentheses, and then after that you can just extract it. And as a result of inputting this particular formula itself, you can actually just extract something like this. It's straight from the Wikipedia itself, rather than just copy pasting from the web page and put it there, because this is now formatted in a certain way. And if there's anything that's off or anything, you can clean it up here. So it's a slightly cleaner way of kind of importing data from a particular website. So you can also do things like, say a lot of you are probably covering listed companies as well. You can actually import current or historical securities information from Google Finance. So the idea is that this is the formula for it. It looks a lot, but actually it's not. I mean, once you get used to it, it's actually okay. You have to remember the ticker. I played around with it. The advice is actually to include the ticker and the exchange as well. But for Asia, without the exchange, it actually works as well. Just as an advice, and then just take the entire. Sorry, this is not meant to be here. You don't need the web address, but you just need the ticker symbol. That's good enough. Say for AirAsia, AAX, that's it. And then put it within the quotation. and then the attribute, if you want it to be price, you can just put price, but by default it would be price. And if you want any of the other attributes, I have a list here as well. I'll share that on top of the tip sheet that I've shared before this. Basically, if you put all, then you'll have like the list of closing, open, closing, and then volume, so on and so forth. The sort of usual things that you would look for when you're looking at covering it daily, covering a company daily. So starting date is optional, but usually if you put something with a start date, you also need to also put an end date. So it kind of looks, it comes up fetching it quite well. And then there's the interval, whether you want to have it fetching daily or weekly, that sort of thing. So that's pretty much it. I do like to show how it works. But otherwise, I like to also open the floor if there are any questions while I'm looking up the particular spreadsheet for this. So this is kind of how. Yeah.
Just a quick question. Yep.
So,
I'm from Mumbai in India.
so
A lot of press releases also come with the local language from the civic administration. So when I put them in Google translate them in English, it doesn't catch a few words from the local language. That is Marathi. That is the local language. So, when I take that same text and put it in ChatGPT and it will rewrite, it does give me a fair idea. So I'm saying that is there any plan to develop get Google Translate itself to rewrite the text better?
Could you repeat your question? I'm not sure I quite.
So I
You-
can
you-
When I put text in Google Translate for to understand to translate it into English, when I use that same text because a few words don't get translated. So when I put that text in ChatGPT and they rewrite, it gives me a fair idea. So I'm saying once we put it in Google Translate, is there any plan to rewrite that text again? I don't know if I was able to convey my question.
If I understand it, if I understood it correctly, you wanted a summary. Is it a summary or just a
just
translation
to
from Marathi?
rewrite it properly.
Ah. And you're using Google Translate.
You get that?
This it happens with Thai language too because certain Asian languages cannot be properly translated into English yet perfectly enough. Right? Understand, digital translator cannot replace a human interpreter. I understand, but her machine can Google do a better job.
Thanks for the question. I will convey that if I know which team to. It is a large company. But I do understand there are limitations. Basically, I've used it as well, and the idea is not to really rely on one tool for your needs and purposes. If you do have other tools that you use, you should kind of try with a few of the other different tools as well. But yeah, thanks for the feedback. But yeah, so that's basically it. There are other tools that I did not mention that are available on Journalist Studio as well. So this is the address for it. The website for it, Journalist Studio. It's a list of different other tools that could be useful for you. Basically, on the transcription portion of it, I myself, even when I was actively reporting, I use quite a number of different tools as well. My advice is just not to rely on one single tool. Definitely, if there's any other questions, I'll be happy to take it right now, and also do let me know what the feedback is regarding this. Understand it's just a bit of a quick one, just because there's only been an hour allocated. So, but thank you so much.
I know this was kind of a whirlwind. Are there any final questions for Ching? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.